Welcome to our session on shaping children's behaviour within early education. Child development. Social skill development is a key focus within early education. From 0 to 5 years of age is a crucial window for social skill development that should not be missed and is actually difficult to catch up, unlike other skills. Social skill development is nuanced, and humans practice this from birth throughout their whole life. This needs to start very young. Social skill development is one of the great benefits of early education settings where children can learn and practice socialising in a supportive environment. Shaping children's behaviour to be better able to socialise and operate in social settings is important work. We're helping children develop appropriate social skills which will carry into school and their life. Learning how to seek attention and play with peers at this young age sets children up for successful relationships moving forward. Functions of behaviour. Every action or behaviour a person presents has a purpose or a function. Our behaviours have a purpose for each of us. Children's behaviour is usually acceptable until they do something that does not work in a social setting. For example, a child pushing their sibling at home to gain a turn might be tolerable. However, in an early education setting, pushing to gain a turn is not a tolerable behaviour. In order to shape behaviour, we need to understand the function of that behaviour and what it serves for the individual. The autism schools of thought. To find out the function of a behaviour that a child might be using, we need to analyse their behaviour. To do that, we need to keenly observe what they are doing and take records. So we use a process called ABC data. As you can see, A stands for antecedent, B stands for behaviour, and C stands for consequence. When we're doing this process, we need to keep a close record of the time and the date. This will help us identify a pattern. Maybe the behaviour occurs more often in the afternoon when the child is tired, for example. Antecedent is what is happening before we see the behaviour. So we need to give context. When we're recording the behaviour, we simply write down exactly what we saw happen. And C, consequence, in this situation means what happened afterwards. It could be the natural consequence, the natural things that happened. It's not about a human provided consequence as such. So in this case, we might be talking about when the child hit another child, they gained attention from the educator. I've provided some examples here, or an example here. So when we look at Max, Max is our subject, and we've noticed he keeps pushing children. So we've noticed here at 2:35, 2 children were playing in the sandpit. Max went over and snatched a toy. The peers ignored Max and played on. Then again at 3:10, children were talking as they were playing on the grass. Max went by and pushed the peer in the back. The peers moved away from him. And then at 3:25, a small group of children were playing in a circle. Max pushed the peer to the ground, then ran away. The peer cried, and the educators spoke to Max. So now we're starting to see a little pattern develop. We're starting to see the behaviour increase in a shorter period of time. And we're also starting to see that potentially Max is trying to get involved with the children, though maybe he's just doing that in the wrong way. So perhaps Max thinks that snatching a toy will mean that his peers play with him. Or perhaps he thinks that when he pushes the children, people get excited and that's a form of attention. We need to take this data so we can start analysing what we're seeing. Once we've analysed the data, we can start to form views, and we actually have factual information to help us form those views. We might start to see patterns, and we might start to see triggers. For example, unstructured playtimes might be a trigger where a child just simply doesn't know how to manage themselves in an overwhelming, busy environment. Loud noises might be a trigger for a particular child. Fatigue and tiredness might be a trigger. Once we have that information, we can start to put plans in place. We also can look at what motivates a child, as this can help us to enhance our programs. We would like to keep families up to date, and once you've analysed and you have data, it gives them reassurance that you are focusing on their child specifically. Once we've analysed the data and we think we understand what the function of the behaviour is, we can start to consider a reasonable alternative for the child. We can call this a fair pair. So what's a reasonable behaviour to replace the behaviour we're finding a challenge? So for example, if the child is pushing as a way to join a group, we might be able to replace that with teaching the child a verbal script. Can I play too? And we would need to model and guide and support the child while they were learning that verbal script. So once we have a fair pair and we understand the direction we're going in as a team, then we would need to develop strategies. And these can include a verbal script that all the educators use so that it's reinforced. That script could be designed in collaboration with the family so that it's consistent in a home setting and in the early education setting. We could use picture cues. Some children have a challenge with receiving communication, and too many words are confusing for them. So using picture cues can assist in letting them know what the appropriate behaviour is. We use social stories. Some of you may have seen these, usually designed to be by an occupational therapist, though we do have some templates ourselves to do that. And that is a little story that has the child as a character in the story and the positive behaviours that you want to see. And then we might also include programs within our weekly program that support all of the children as a whole group. So they might talk about use a book that talks about social conventions as a way to continue to guide not only one child, but the whole group. Once you've decided on the direction you're taking, what the fair pair is, what the function of the behaviours are, what some of the triggers are, then you need to document the plan. You will do that along with your team, with the educational leader and the centre director, and you will also do that with the family, because never should there be a surprise to a family. We need to ensure effective communication with them all the way along. Thank you for listening. You will find helpful resources on our Kingsville Early Learning Teams Drive under Education and Programming, under Positive Behaviour Support. There's the ABC templates are there, the guidance plan template is there, and other interesting reading. Do ask questions and always work as a team when you are faced with some challenging behaviours.